Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It is Friday, and we have our stories of hope. I'm so excited because Amey Deanne is back. Hello, Amey.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are y'all?
I am doing awesome.
Awesome. So it is part 9 today that we're talking about your series that you've been teaching us about, talking to us about your book that you're writing, and that is Finding Your Truest You, a guide to becoming your authentic self. That's what you've been teaching us over the last, I want to say couple months, but today's the 9th and the final episode. And so, but I do want to let the audience know, people that are just listening and tuning in to you for the first time, or even to me for that matter, Amey, that you have dedicated your earlier years to being a mom and a wife. And after facing a separation and ultimately a divorce after 29 years of marriage, you realized for the first time that you didn't know who you were. And like many other mothers, you had put your own needs and wants aside to raise your children. Now that your children are adults and no longer depending on you as they once did, you found yourself at a unique stage in your life and of self-discovery. And while you were continuing your career in corporate America, you sought an outlet for your creativity and you started a side business called Resilient. Initially, it was created as a craft venture. Resilient was evolved into something much more meaningful. You were also very successful in contributing a chapter to Amazon best-selling book, Shine Your Light. And that was the cherry on the top for your healing journey. Now you're focusing on connecting with women across multiple platforms, empowering them to discover their truest selves. And you exemplify the idea that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. And we've really been talking about that in going through all of these chapters as well. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
And so what is today about?
Well, it's a culmination of everything, and it's the you in truest you in understanding your purpose.
So the chapter is titled You?
It's entitled Understanding Your Purpose.
Oh, it's titled Understanding Your Purpose. Okay. So, yeah, understanding your purpose. This is a really good topic because what a lot of people, find themselves at a certain point in their life wanting to look at what is the purpose for being here? Why am I here? Right? Do you want to give us a recap of all the other talks we've done?
That would be awesome. Truest You is actually an acronym. So we have discussed the T is trusting yourself, trusting your gut instinct, trusting the little voice inside your head, trusting your intuition. R was recognizing that everyone's journey is different. You're not going to be on the same path. You're not going to heal at the same time. You're not going to get over things the same. It's going to be different. U was unlearning a negative mindset. Your stinking thinking, your negative tapes from your childhood or whatever traumatic event you've been through, unlearning that and feeding yourself with positive vibes. The E was embracing authenticity. Embracing who you are, whether it's your curls, whether it's your sensitivity, whether it's whatever it is, embrace who you are and who you were meant to be. S was staying the course. So don't throw in the towel. It's tough. Make it tougher before it gets easier. But stay the course. Stay on your journey. focus and move through it. T was taking your time. Take your time. Don't be in a rush. Don't be thinking, oh, I got to get this done, or I've got to go, jump into the dating scene, or I've got to do, whatever number of things it is, because it's not going to serve you well. Take your time. Y was yesterday is gone, so move forward. Don't keep looking backwards and thinking shoulda, coulda, woulda. Don't beat yourself up about what you didn't do, what you should have done differently. Move forward, because that's the most important thing. O was opening your mind to challenges and changes. And that really hit me a lot last week when we were talking about that, because one of my biggest challenges was just finding time to be, just not running that rat race, not going from here to here to here to here, but just finding that time to be. And I remember you at the end of the show challenged me to do just that. And I did last Sunday. It was a holiday weekend. So I did nothing. I laid around the pool a little bit. I did post something on social media, but outside of that, I literally did nothing. So I found time to be. So it was great. And today is the kind of a culmination of everything, is just understanding your purpose. So once you've done these things, you've trusted yourself, you've gone through this healing journey, then understand what it is you're here for.
Perfect. So understanding your purpose, that's a title in itself. You could write a book about just that topic, right? Understanding your purpose. So many people are looking for their purpose. Sometimes I think that I think your purpose changes like it did, like your purpose when you were a mom and you were a wife. Your purpose then, I'm sure, was to be the best mom, to be the best mother. The only sad part about it is that you weren't included in that configuration because your needs were put aside, right? But talk to us more about, what does that mean to you today? Finding your purpose, living in your purpose, being in your purpose.
I think it took a little bit of time. Obviously, all of the things that I did to heal, that was kind of the first step. And you're right, raising my kids, that was my purpose. That was truly what I felt like was my sole purpose in life, was to, nurture them, raise them, whatever the case may be. And so when, as we've discussed several times, it wasn't until I was alone and faced with myself and by myself that I was like, well, they're grown. That purpose, just like you said, it changes, it shifts. That's kind of done. So now what? What am I here for?
Mm-hmm.
And it really wasn't until I started going through things, the healing, and getting to a place where I thought, and introduced to somebody also that kind of talked to me about storytelling, that I reached a point to say, I think maybe what I have been through can help someone else. And so you kind of start down that path, because in the meantime, you're really working on yourself. You're really healing. You're really trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to find your own identity. And then it's like, okay, I feel like my heart is whole. I feel like I'm a whole person. I feel happy on the inside. I'm happy with myself. Now what? Well, it's kind of like, now go and tell. Go and tell your story so that you can be an encouragement to someone else. And that's really, for me, that's what I've discovered that it's all about. It's not, and I say this a lot, where I say, it's not about what happened to me or what I've been through in my life. It's what did I do with it? And that's the encouragement part. That's what we take to encourage other people, to help them get to where they need to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I said, living in your purpose, being in your purpose changed. And now, your purpose is that has come. It was birthed through that whole discovery process, right? And now your purpose is to tell the story, to share, so that what you've gone through may help someone else. When we're talking about purpose, like right now, I'm looking at my own self too, and going, what is my purpose right now, today, at this phase and stage in my life, right? Like, what is it? And I'm discovering that what I really want more than anything is to be able to um, be in a space where I can authentically, there's that, where I can authentically speak my truth with where I am today without having to dumb down, hide away, or hold back to anything that I'm feeling just because it might make someone else uncomfortable. And
Exactly.
so, right? And so I really want, because there's a lot of things out there in the world that we're seeing that is unfolding, that is fake, and that is, masked, and that is awful. And so what is my purpose? For me, it's about the truth. My purpose is to live and express my light, to live and express my truth, to be in my authentic identity, not attached to it, but to be in that, and
Yeah.
then to speak that. And so that's my purpose now.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, so I think it's perfect, that you're bringing this up and that you're talking about it, because again, that in itself is, I think people go through, throughout their life, looking for what their purpose is. And even though, um, like even right now, things are not as defined, like, oh, my purpose is, for me, it's just about living my truth and speaking my voice and shining my light. And for you, it is storytelling, sharing your story, sharing the things that you've learned throughout your time, and being able to, that it may help someone else.
That's exactly right. And my goal is to help lots of people globally. But if it helps one person, that's the key. I didn't have a guide when I was alone, when I was healing, when I was trying to figure out who I was. I read a lot of self-help books. I did a lot of different things, but I didn't really have a guide. I didn't have okay, these are the steps you can take to get here. And so, of course, I'm making all these detours and I'm doing all of that. And that's the whole purpose of writing this book and getting this movement to everyone, is to say, not that this is going to be the end all be all. This is, if you do this, you're going to get here. It's just a guide. It's just here's what I did. This was what it did for me. And I hope it can do that for you.
Yeah, and that is so awesome because it's very soft. It's an offering that's very soft. It's an offering that's very nurturing, and it's very helpful. When we look back at our lives, like I look back at my life too, and I think I thought, gosh, it would have been great if I would have had somebody like me back in the day telling me about, here it is, this is how you do
Yeah.
this, how you do this, right? And then, no, but it was for me to discover and then to use my outlets of creativity, writing, speaking, whatever, and then share that with others. And that is making the world a better place, and that is rippling out. And I know that, what you're doing with your finding your truest you is creating a movement of people, of women, of people, and men too, because we're saying it's for women, but there is men that are drawn and activated by this as well, and they want to be, they're part of that anyway.
Right.
But really discovering, your truest you, this is a lifelong process because there's always more layers, right?
Yes, it is definitely like an onion, as we've discussed before. You're like, okay, here's this layer. Okay, now there's this layer. And so
Yeah.
it's definitely a lifelong thing.
So who knows? I mean, who knows how this is going to unfold, but this is just the beginning. So you're completing writing the book. We've been talking about all the different chapters now that you shared with us in the early part of the show today. And when are you expecting to launch the book?
It will launch October 7th on Amazon. And that's just the beginning, because it will become an audiobook. It will become a course. It will become all kinds of things in the future. So the sky's the limit. As you said in the introduction, I do feel like whatever you desire, put it out there into the earth and in the world, in the universe, and say, this is what I want. Manifest that. Go get it. Do it. Be a doer. You can't, it's hard to complain about something if you're not going to take the steps to do it. And so, as you know, we've talked a lot of times, I'm a doer. I'm a doer. Give me an assignment, I'll do it. So I really do hope that, October 7th comes around. It's a great opportunity to start your Christmas shopping, whatever it is, but I hope to get the book into as many hands as possible during that time.
Yeah. And so I just want to say for the people that are listening, so, because over the next few months, then when you're listening to this podcast and you're listening to us speaking about it, then keep your eyes open, because when it comes time for Amey to get people to go to Amazon and go ahead and make it to the bestseller list, because I know that that's one of your goals as well, Amey, is to become an international bestseller. And there's no reason why not. And so the way that you can support this movement, then what we're speaking into existence right here, right now, that is that many people will support you, then supporting themselves. And that is to help you get on that international bestseller, because that is one of your goals, to become a global supporter of women across the globe. So I know that you're going to make that. I know that you're going to achieve your goal. And it's been my honor and pleasure to support you in bringing it out to the world in the way that we did. We didn't have it all figured out, but it was just kind of like a vision, right? Initially. And then I shared with you, hey, this is what we could do, and we could break it up in parts, and then we put it together, and we've been showing up for it.
I agree. And I could not have done it without your help. Absolutely not.
I mean, it's been great. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of us. And I'm certainly looking forward to getting a copy of, your amazing book. And I'm expecting a signed copy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, but I want the audience to, because later on, Amey, when you're taking this podcast, when you're doing your marketing and promoting later on at that time, take this one here then and use it to drive as many people as you can to purchase your book.
Yes.
Do you have any closing thoughts you want to leave with us today before we say so long?
It's just so long for a brief moment. It's kind of bittersweet. It's kind of sad, because I've really actually looked forward to each one of these podcasts, each one of these opportunities to bring another chapter of the book to your audience, to kind of tell them what's going on, to even to recap what they've missed and how they can go back and listen to other episodes, as well as, I've got the same, the recordings on my website as well. But I just want to encourage everyone that finds themselves adrift, that, if you have a breakup, if you have an empty nester time, your kids are moving out, they're grown, and you're like, now what? What am I supposed to do? I encourage you to, first of all, listen to all of these podcasts. Go back and listen to some of the tips and tricks that we have given in these brief explanations of each chapter. And that will kind of prepare you for getting the book as well, but kind of give you a little bit of a glimpse of some things that you can do, especially if you're stuck. If you're feeling stuck, it's a way to get unstuck. It's a way to, find your truest you. It's such a liberating feeling. I know I talked in the very beginning about how, it wasn't that I didn't know who I was, but I didn't know who I was. I knew as a mom, as a wife, as this or that, I knew who I was, but at my core. And why didn't I know? Well, first of all, I had a lot of healing to do. And so if you need to heal, I encourage you to do that first too.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's called Discover Finding Your Truest You, but also a guide to becoming your authentic self. And I don't know about you, but we talked about this before too, not just here, but also in the mastermind group. And that is with all the AI rolling out and you not knowing, is this a real person or is this an AI, or, what is this? For me, I know what I want is I want real humans in my orbit, and that's what I want, and that's what I'm saying yes to. That's the authentic, intimate relationships that I want to have. So for me, what you're talking about, a guide to becoming your authentic self, um, it's so helpful. I want to tell people how they can go to your website and bookmark that, and follow Amey on social media. So let us know where they can go.
My website is my-resilient-journey.com. There is on the front page there, you'll see the front and the back cover of the book. And there's also a podcast tab, so you can go back and listen to replays of this series and a lot of other podcast interviews that I've been on. On Instagram and Facebook, it's Amey Deanne, AmeyDeanne. And then also Resilient TX on Facebook and Instagram.
We've come a long way, haven't we, Amey?
I so agree.
Because think about it, when you first came to the Kornelia Stephanie show, I think it was your second podcast that you'd ever done.
Second, or even my first. I think it may be my first.
Maybe in the
Very
first
first one.
I mean, look at how far you've come, and now you're like a pro, talking and relaxed and going on all these podcasts and doing all these things. So it's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, for being consistent, for doing what it is that you do, and many blessings. I know we're going to be in each other's lives, so I'm looking forward to it all.
Thank you for having me and allowing me to bring this to everyone.
Thank you. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie show. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie show. Our next guest today is Fred Simpson. He was with us last week. He just wrote a book. He just wrote and published a book, and the book is called Cyber Time. So welcome back to the show today, Fred. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Good, good, good. So your book, Cyber Time, let's tell the audience, for people that are just listening and tuning in for the first time, let's tell the audience what the book is, why you wrote the book.
The book is basically about scammers and hackers. And I wrote the book because through my career, I was never involved in social media. My wife passed away. I wanted to stay busy. So I got into social media to contact other high school friends and family and, just relatives that I hadn't talked to before, and to stay busy, and, not have idle mind, and other things. Well, I got into it and I contacted a lot of people. And that was very good, except I found, about 35% that had passed away because of the age and life and death. But got into that, and I had no idea. I'd heard the peripheral about scammers and everything online, and then you get telephone and postal scams and all that stuff that were out there. But I never knew it was that prevalent until I got into social media and actually became part of that. And I got into that and actually lost some money. And so then somewhere along the line, I got smarter and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, somebody needs to understand and find the tools to be able to deal with this and know what's out there." And there's a lot of things about it, but to give a perspective of where I was at, and I did have, a developed, tools to verify and validate, whether somebody was real and was not. Because there's a lot of stats and stuff that you get from the social media platforms, even themselves, that may not be right.
Mhm.
So I developed and put those into a book and gave 10 steps how to validate whether you had real or scam or, bad players, and the different types of social media platforms that are out there. It's unbelievable how many there are and the limitations of them. Just recently we heard about Signal, but there's a lot of them you don't understand, that some are being, you can block and you can report, and some don't even have reporting. You can report, but it's not going to do anything. And so, even just as part of it is, Facebook and Instagram are 50% real, 50% scam, and all the different ones. And Zangy itself is about 73% scammers on it. And all the different scams that you'll find, there's thousands, tens of thousands of different types of scams out there. And romance scams, finance scams, they get into crypto, Bitcoin, gold short trading, and all of the ones that are out there. And there's been a lot of people taken by that. And just as a matter of fact, I went the other night to a presentation put on by the state of Iowa Attorney General's office, and people there, and showing real people that had been taken for $165,000 to $250,000, and it never dawned on them, and different ways to figure out how to put in fail-safe there and keep people that from happening. But
Did you sell any copies of your book there?
I brought some and gave them away, and hopefully it'll get some sold.
Okay.
And gave them some cards with it, and yeah, I used the opportunity, if that's what you're asking.
I think, what you're doing, with this whole thing. I mean, this is like a rabbit hole. It's like, I'm sure, eventually you're going to probably write another book about it and keep it,
Yeah.
because it's a lot, because especially now with, I mean, the fact that you're saying Facebook, that in itself, 50% real, 50% scam, Instagram, 50% real, 50% scam. But now we're looking at this whole AI thing that's rolling out.
It's
With people's accounts being stolen, hacked, overtaken, and people are not going to know how to, what's real, what's not. This is what we're facing. We're facing this. It's huge. The other thing that's important too is to note who owns what. Who owns those places, those social media places? That's an important thing to know too, because nowadays, you really have a choice. Where do you want to play with? Who do you want to play with? Where do you want to put your energy? And also, my question to you was, who's being scammed?
Everybody, really. It isn't just the older people. I mean, the older people probably a bigger percentage, because they don't have the knowledge and what's happening on internet and the abilities that are there, but they still need to know. I mean, they need to know, especially if we got a phone call and there were people that were taken just because they were told they were on the jury, and they were going to be fined $5,000. Then it became $10,000 because it was a federal jury, and they believed it. They've got all these spiels and get people to believe this stuff, and those are threats. Those are threat types. The other ones that really get more money and take people for more money is financial, and people looking for money and just basically being greedy. And there's a lot of examples that they had even at this presentation. It also gave all the links and the numbers on people to get a hold of to find out the real information. That's a lot of the trickery involved because, here's an example, Cornelia, is, and the best example, because I thought the same thing, when you got LifeLock out there and they said, well, we're going to protect you from getting your house taken. Well, it hasn't happened. The state of Iowa, the Attorney General's office and the insurance fraud department, none of them had seen a case of that happening. You've got almost an ad fraud where the company is scaring people to pay monthly for something that they can't take care of until it happens, if it happens. But there's too many things involved. You've got the clerk and recorders, you've got the title, insurance title, all of that stuff that people have to be involved in, and it doesn't come together that way. And then they have to sell it, and it just doesn't work. The biggest scams that are out there are the ones that are financial, dealing especially now with crypto, Bitcoin, and there's one I came across that was so elaborate I had no idea. It was gold short trading. That whole platform and everything involved. But the biggest thing, what I found out the other night too, is there was also a detective with the cyber department for the county. He was in there, and he's showing these RFID readers and how they're stealing that. But the biggest thing right now, and they're trying to do in the state of Iowa, is doing the limitations as far as money that can be transferred on Bitcoin machines. Wells Fargo is no more. Their Bitcoin wallet crypto, and there's no limits on the amount that can be transferred. Like the FDIC will limit your bank for 10,000. And then other players get involved because of that limit, which is a good thing. There is none on the Bitcoin machines. So what they do is have people, they're laundering money. They're saying, here's this money, and back, and there's no limits on it and no boundaries. So you got international as well, and it can go out to China, Nigeria, or Philippines, or wherever. So that's one big thing, and those are all changing. And the other thing with the AI and what you stated, Cornelia, is it has me scared. I'm scared about it because they can emulate people's voice. They can take your voice, 3 words, and 3 shots of picture, photo, and they can emulate your voice and your video with the AI. And I know a person, as a matter of fact, that's right in a small town in Iowa that had her Facebook page hacked and had the pictures and video and audio, and they restructured it, emulated it, and had her selling crypto currency.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And that's where all the money is. I was almost going to stop her and say, I don't want to hear the rest, thinking it was something else. But no, it's the money, and most of the money is in the greed involved in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and gold trading and all that. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, just like the industry, like last year, as far as scams, it was $28.3 billion that was stolen. And it's just going to keep increasing drastically.
Yeah. I just think it's just extraordinary, the work that you've done, and that you know these stats now, and you know that they're changing, and you know they're increasing, and you know it's there. I just think it's commendable that you did that, because this type of work, what you had to do, this kind of research, that's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun to learn these things. It's not fun to talk about these things. It's because you have to be able to really sit down, because we want to be trustworthy. We want to be able to take people for their word. We want to be able to, but then to actually do this research and write a book about it, put your own funding, put your own money into it, and put it out. I mean, this is a lot of work. So I'm very grateful to you for doing this work and for alerting people that there's scammers out there, and that everyone has the opportunity that they could be scammed. Everyone. It's not just one group of people. It's all the people. And for you to be able to stay alert to it and be, aware that these things are happening. I want to say probably about 2 months ago, I got a phone call from the police department, like somewhere in Seattle. They called me from somewhere in Seattle, and basically the person was saying, that I failed to show up for a jury duty or whatever in Seattle or whatever, and now that you just mentioned that, I just remembered getting that phone call, and because it was a message that was left, and they probably wanted some sort of money from it. I never contacted back. I never called him back, because normally, my address, they could be able to find out my real address from jury duty, and then you know what I mean? But somebody can find out my phone number and call me, and then, try to talk to me and try to tell me that I missed jury duty and now I owe them this much money or whatever for not showing up. It's just like the same, even at my family's house. My mother's 85, and they're constantly receiving phone calls over there from people that are going, "Oh, hey, Grandma, I'm stranded. I'm stranded in, the car broke down, and so, thinking that Grandma will sign over a check for like $2,000 or whatever."
Mm-hmm. Or more.
Yeah.
And keep coming back. If you're going to give it once, they'll try it again.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to pass on something else that was really major, and you talked about that, they've got tolls and all that stuff, but is a piece of advice by both the insurance department, the bureau chief, and the attorney general's office said, freeze your credit. All three credit reporting groups have all your information, all your financial information. They aren't working for you. They're making money for themselves and selling information. And you can, if you aren't going to buy a house, or if you aren't going to buy a car or a major expenditure, you don't need to worry about, somebody checking your credit. If you know you're going to do that, you can go to the person that you're getting it, say a car from a dealer. You can say, which credit bureau are you going to use? And they'll tell you, and then you go to them and you say, unfreeze my credit for 2 days, then back on.
That's a good idea.
And people can't, that is a big chunk of your financial information that's out there on 3 credit unions. And it gets out more and more. And that, I thought that was a good piece of advice to pass on to everybody.
I want you to show your book
things. And I'm next week, I'm going to talk to not the federal, but the state of Iowa bureau chief for the insurance fraud. And him and I set up a call and going to talk some more. And, it was a very good thing they were doing, going around, and they had a supper at the casino and,
Yeah. You need to be
and
definitely doing a lot of talks. One of the things that I learned about when I wrote and published a book is that once you write and publish a book, you're now in the book selling business. And that's really the business you're in. Let's show the audience your book again. Like, show it up, tell us the name of it, tell us where to get it.
okay, this is Cyber Time. And I fashioned it after, a science fiction book and stuff, but I won't get into that. But it is on actually 84 different platforms. But the ones that you really need to know, I've got a LinkedIn site for me, Fred Simpson. But it's also to search for is, keep in mind, it's got a pen name, Jameson Lyon. So you do Cyber Time and Jameson Lyon on a Google search, it'll pull up any one of them that you need. But Amazon.com, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, those are the three major. I mean, you can get it at any, and those three have the three formats that I have: ebook, the paperback and hardcover, and I'm in the process of doing an Audible book. So that'll get out there. So it's, it was an endeavor. And then to get copyright and everything to learn the process is
Did you self-publish?
Yes.
Wow, you're good.
Well, I used a publicist, but as a lump sum.
Oh, okay.
And they provided some ghostwriters as much as it was, but I ended up writing it half myself anyway. Okay. And but I had the rest of the publicists that were trying to get me on board, a lot of good information from them. Amazon Books and Pageant and a lot of the other ones. But the whole process was unique. Yeah, I mean, it was really crazy.
Yeah.
And then going in and making sure that you have your copyright.
Yeah.
And copyright.gov is the only place you can do that. And I've got my copyright in effect and protected. And then all the, like I said, 84 different platforms.
Yeah.
It's domestic as well as globally. So it's available globally. And I hope people in Germany and China and Korea are going to buy it.
Yeah. Well, I think you're on a good track. You've got a good product. You've got a good service that you're putting out there for people. People need to be educated, and I think that many people are susceptible to this. And I appreciate you coming on the show, talking to us about this very, intense. It's intense. It's very scary, like you talked about. It's very scary. So I want to thank you, Fred Simpson, for coming on the show, and I wish you much success with your book and your endeavor.
Thank you, Kornelia.
Yeah. I want to let the audience know, thank you for listening and tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie Show, and we wish you a wonderful weekend. Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.